This video is about Eucharistic miracles and how they prove Christianity. There are numerous reported cases that during the celebration of the Eucharist, the consecrated bread exhibits an extraordinary phenomenon in a special way. In some cases, a host that has been dropped or otherwise handled is said to suddenly transform into what appears to be a piece of flesh or even blood. These events are often interpreted as signs of the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. In this video, I present cases that have been scientifically investigated and show that God can perform real miracles. First miracle of Lanciano, Italy. Event. According to legend, the consecrated host was transformed into flesh-like tissue during a mass in the 8th century. Eyewitnesses reported that the bread, which is venerated as the body of Christ, was transformed into real heart tissue and blood. Scientific investigations. Tissue samples were taken and examined by histological analysis. The findings showed cells with cross-striped patterns typical of heart muscle. In addition, the blood type AB was detected in some examinations. Second miracle of Bolsena/Orvieto, Italy. Event. In the tradition of Bolsena, which is closely linked to the origin of the feast of Corpus Christi, it was reported that the host spilled blood during a mass. Witnesses saw how the blood not only oozed from the host, but in some reports also seemed to flow into the bread, as if the two elements were interwoven. Scientific investigations. Blood samples that appeared in conjunction with the host were analyzed. The results indicated unusual properties. In some cases, the blood was apparently detectable with the host in some kind of compound or intertwining, going beyond the usual physical reaction. Third miracle of Acciareale, Sicily, Italy, 1953. Event. In Acciareale in 1953, it was reported that a host that had fallen to the ground during Mass turned into flesh-like tissue. Eyewitnesses reported that the resulting tissue showed structural similarities to heart muscle, in some cases even with a recognizable intertwining of blood and the original host. Scientific investigations. Histological analyses of the samples showed that the tissue had typical features of living heart muscle, such as characteristic cell shapes and fiber arrangements. It was also found that the blood was connected to the host in some areas, indicating a special, unusual integration of the substances. Fourth miracle of Santarém, Portugal. Event. In Santarém, Portugal, it is reported that during a Eucharistic celebration, the consecrated host suddenly oozed blood. Eyewitnesses reported that not only did blood come out, but in some cases it looked as if the blood was integrated into the host, resulting in an extraordinary visual impression. Scientific investigations. Sampling and analysis. Samples of the blood-like material were taken and analyzed using histological and biochemical methods. Findings. The analyses revealed that the material examined had cell structures that could show similarities with human tissue, particularly heart muscle. Some tests also indicated unusual coagulation properties that would not be expected under normal physiological conditions. Fifth miracle of Siena, Italy. Event. During a Eucharistic celebration in Siena, it was reported that the host was transformed into flesh-like tissue. It turned out that the resulting tissue not only appeared fleshy on the outside, but was also interspersed with blood in some areas and appeared to be interwoven with the original host. Scientific investigations. Sampling and analysis. Tissue samples were taken and it was found that the blood and the host appeared fused together in some sections. Findings. Histological analyses showed that the tissue exhibited typical features of human heart muscle, such as the characteristic transverse striations in the cells. The integration of the blood into the tissue matrix was described as unusual and striking. In all 5 cases, the investigations indicate that the material examined, whether in the form of tissue or blood, has properties that are consistent with real human heart tissue. In particular, the reports of an intertwining of blood and host are seen by believers as strong evidence of a miracle. There are many more of these miracles, feel free to research them. It is interesting to note that the characteristics of all these miracles are the same. In my view, this definitely proves the intervention of God, as something is otherwise not possible. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up.